So I guess it was just hope. I just wanted to make sure people had hope because sometimes hope is hard to find.
It is.
I know it was hard during my, younger years, even the years of going into healing and going through counseling and stuff. So, eh,
True. Even while working through it pretty intently and heavily, sometimes that can feel dark,
oh, very, very,
because
especially when
you're,
things are exposed, your memory comes back on certain things and such like that.
it's almost like you're at a grave site and you're with a shovel and you're just, you know, you're digging for your healing, but you've also had to put a lot of work in there. And it's not necessarily the funnest place to be, of all places is the past.
True. And who wants to go through their painful past? They'd rather go
Yeah.
through, let me tell you about a time I went to Disneyland with my girlfriends. That's a better
Yeah.
story. That's a lot better story. Everybody wants to hear that. But the other, it's not popular. It's a downer, but it's that thing that talks to you in the middle of the night. It's the thing that's keeping you from sleeping.
Yeah.
It's the thing that reminds you in the midst of the middle of your day when you're doing something that is whatever it is, and then all of a sudden that smell hits you and you go back in time
Yeah.
to where you were abused or something. Those are real moments. And in those real moments, remembering that you're needing to walk through that moment with the strength of Christ, with his hope that he promised to give us.
I think of one of my friends who said that when she was a baby, she would get locked up in the closet. So she was sexually abused, but also like just locked in the closet.
Mm.
But she would find the Bible. She's like, there was a Bible in
Oh,
there,
yes, I remember you telling me about her.
even before even being able to read. And I just thought it was really cool that God gave her that hope. God gave her that ability in the worst of situations, and to still have that hope in Jesus when nothing else is there. So that's a testimony I watch, if that makes sense. That's a testimony that it's honoring to be able to be a friend to a person that
Yeah.
God carries like that.
I don't know the timeline of it. I know being a child all the way till 12 what type thing, 10 till 10 years old was abused, and then 13 memories started coming back big time.
Mm.
But in all of that, I wasn't suicidal. I know more, I would say I hit around 9 or 10 years of age that depression found a home in
Mm.
me.
Mm.
Definitely. I would say by 13, full-fledged. Absolutely. And somewhere in there, I don't know when the line was crossed, but the hopelessness, not being able to find hope and not being in a relationship with Christ type thing, like I am now, was when I became very suicidal because that hope
Mm.
it wasn't gone. So I don't understand why it wasn't there why wasn't I suicidal at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? And it was like maybe survival was more of a strong
Mm.
pull,
Mm.
if that makes sense. I was always just trying to survive.
And did you understand at that point that it was even evil? Like for
Um,
me, it took years before I realized it was wrong. I mean, I knew
well,
there
I
were
was
certain.
told when I mentioned it the first time that, little girls don't talk that way and that you don't mention stuff like that. So I knew it was bad. More than anything, it scared the life out of me because I didn't know when it would happen at night and I didn't know who it was. So it was very scary. So it was always like this incredibly scary movie. It was
Yeah,
always this scary thing that would happen to me.
you could never turn it off. Yeah.
Right. So I didn't see evil as much as I knew it was bad, but I knew it was incredibly frightening. The terror was just incredible. The level of terror was always there. So it was exhausting and everything, but it didn't hit the depression and all of that until I would say at least maybe 11, 12, 13. It really hit. So I don't know what happened, that there was a shift in my mind because maybe more understanding came about life. You only understand so much as a
True.
kid.
Yeah. And you see it through just a certain scope up until certain
Yes.
ages. Yeah.
But something triggered differently or something, or my mind matured enough and I wasn't just in survival mode. Now I was living with these awful night terrors. I was living with these things that happened that nobody will recognize, nobody will pay attention to. And they're still hurting me, even though I'm not being abused anymore because it stopped at age 10, but they're still hurting me.
Yeah.
And I
That's
can't
as
seem to
real.
control it. They're just as real. Absolutely. They're just as real. And yet I can't seem to get it out of my mind, out of my life.
Yeah.
And that felt very hopeless. But somewhere along the line, I went from being survivor to one who just wanted to quit. I was ready to quit. Quit the pain. I was done with it. That type of thing. And I think that's exactly how Satan wanted it all to work out, because he came to kill, steal, and destroy.
That would have been prime time for him to take you out.
Yep, you got it.
Let's get her all the way to this corner and let's see what she does.
But God had a better plan for me, just like he did for Joseph. And that's the exciting part. So if there's somebody out there who is struggling through that and they're going, but I don't see this end wonderful plan for me, you don't have to, but you can count on it. You
Put
can
that in a
lean into
quote.
that promise.
Right?
Yeah, because whatever Satan is meaning for evil, boy, God could just flip it for the good.
Goodness. Right?
Whether it's betrayal, whatever it is, or even me punishing my own self. Come on, that was pretty rotten. Me doing self-harm, but God still used that for good. And he still does for this day. And that's something to celebrate. That's something to have joy. That's something, it gets me up in the morning.
Well, one, to be able to see it in other people's lives. Two, to be able to see it it's recorded in scripture. You can't deny what's recorded in scripture, Yes, as a child, I thought they were just stories. Then I realized this is all legit, It's a real deal. It did happen.
Yeah.
And then when it starts coming down the pipeline to yourself and God starts showing you things personally to you, how he shows up and how he's fixing you and healing you and showing you little delights that you didn't think you were worthy of. It just changes it.
It does.
Things. Like you
It
said,
goes from hopeless to having much hope. So much hope. You're able to share it all the way around.
That's
you
true.
Want a scoop of this hope? Let me give you some.
Yeah. Here you go, Satan. Take a scoop of this one. No. But it's true.
Oh, goodness.
Well, because he lives.
It changes everything.